Hello and welcome back to the Little Scale Cars YouTube channel. Today in the review box we have the BMW M3 E46 from the AutoStrasse car culture set from 2022. One of the last sets that got released, and we're just now getting around to the review. So let's go ahead and take a closer look at this release and see if it is worth adding to your collection. So let's get started with our casting. As we take a look, we'll see that our proportions are slightly off. It looks just a touch too boxy, perhaps, but it's definitely not distracting, and it definitely has like that Hot Wheels kind of charm to it. So while it is a little bit off, to me, I actually kind of like the look of it. It looks good. We'll go ahead and put it next to the real car here. So this is not a new casting, so we're going to kind of go over this category fairly quickly, because I assume most of you guys already have it. We do have a metal on metal base, so our metal base is pretty nicely detailed. It's got a gloss black paint job on it that extends up here into the splitter. All of this up front is casted in, so our intake here is meshed, casted in. We even have texturing on the BMW signature style grille there. Up on the hood here, this is casted in, textured in. Obviously, this kind of bump on the hood casted in, looking great. Moving on to the sides, of course, we have our door lines. This piece is casted in as well. Into the back, we've got our kind of trunk lines casted in as well. Our exhaust is a piece of the base, and it kind of sticks out here at the rear bumper and looks good. And then we have our little spoiler casted in as well, which again just looks really, really nice. Some nice fender flares that kind of poke out a little bit. The wheels up front especially is where it's noticeable. They don't really tuck in all the way, and I think that kind of is the biggest gripe I think most people would have with the casting. It doesn't particularly bother me, but it is perhaps not the most realistic. With our paint and deco, so this particular release we just got a nice plain red. I think the previous release was part of the BMW set, so it was white with some kind of BMW Motorsport liveries on it. And it's nice to have another clean version of it. This red looks really, really good. Really not much to say as far as this category goes, because the deco is, for the most part, fairly plain. But the nice, simple look is, to me, what kind of is the draw to this car. I like just to look nice and clean. Moving into our details category, as we talked about earlier, our grille is there. It is textured as well. We also do have our headlights. We have intakes, these reflectors on both sides. We do have our little BMW logo there as well. Looking real good. So the full deco looks nice. This little vent up here gets its detailing as it should. Thing on the side here, also nice and tampoed in, looking great. Our gas cap here on the side is not tampoed in, but the casting itself is casted in, so it looks good. Moving on to the back end, we do get a BMW logo. We get some little tail lights looking great. We get a license plate. We do get a teeny tiny M3 logo there, as well as another something here that's so small that I can't even tell you what it is. And then also this diffuser section is a tampo as well. So that looks really, really nice. And we got the nice silver chrome kind of 10-spoke wheels, which look really good. And we even have some trimming around the windows, which looks nice as well. So overall, the detailing packed in there pretty good for the kind of plain deco that we've got there. Moving into our roll test, this is a Hot Wheels premium model, so it should be no surprise that it rolls, and it rolls very smoothly. So for our pros and cons. Our big pro from this one, I think, is the color choice. This nice, clean, red, simple deco looks really nice, really sharp, good kind of... I mean, this car, let's be honest, this car doesn't really look bad in any color. It's one of those cars that really can just go at just about any color and look good. So that does help, but this red, personally for me, looks a little bit over the next echelon of greatness. Red's probably one of my favorite colors for cars to be in, other than orange maybe. So it looks good. The other big pro that I think is just the level of detailing that the casting does get. As far as the casted in details, I mean, there's not a whole lot since it is kind of a simple car, but everything that you would want there is there. For our cons, however, though, we do have a few, and the biggest one, I will say, is the quality control department. Could have perhaps been a little better. If you'll look here, you'll see there's some, like, splotches of something on my wheel arch here. Up front, these same blotches affect this bumper. There's a couple more blotches back here. And yeah, just overall, with just some weird blotchiness issues, which is never perfect. But for the most part, that's really the only kind of gripe or con I would say, is perhaps the QC department needed to be a little bit more precise on this particular release. For some quick size comparisons, here we have it with the Hot Wheels Premium BMW M3 E46 and the Matchbox BMW M4 Cabriolet. And here we have it with some other sports cars you might have in your collection, with the Hot Wheels Audi RS5 and the Tomica Lotus Exige S. Okay, with all of that out of the way, it's time to give my overall thoughts. So overall, I'm going to give this one an 8.8 out of 10. So the biggest chunk is just because I wasn't crazy hype for this casting. Again, we have had this casting several times now, so the hype has kind of died down just a little bit for me. That's really the biggest chunk of the negatives. The little QC issues and all that are a little bit easier to overlook, because it is very possible that I just got a bad example and this 99% of them left the factory just fine. But like I said, this casting has been done several times now, so the hype just isn't quite there. But this car does fit really well with the AutoStrasse theme, so I'm not going to give it any kind of docking for that. I think it came out looking really good too. Like I said, this red paint really looks good to me. All the detailing is there and done well. None of the headlights or the grille tampos are misaligned or off placement or anything like that. So with that kind of out of the way, I would say I highly recommend this one. If you can find it on the pegs, go ahead and grab it. I would never recommend paying eBay prices, but if you can get the set for relatively at MSRP, definitely go for it. And with that, guys, that's all I have for this review. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe if you are new, and leave a comment down below telling me what your thoughts are on this particular model, and I will see you in the next video.